All right, we're off and rolling. You are in Perth. How's that?
Perth, it sucks. It's the furthest place. So I didn't know this existed until I Googled it. There's a website that is furthest from, all right? And I think it's furthestfrom.com. And you can type in wherever you're at, and it'll tell you the furthest place on Earth from where you're at. And I think Perth is the fifth furthest place from Phoenix on the planet. Only other place being like places in Madagascar and some place like Muriatana, some random place in the Indian Ocean. So I am as far from home as I could possibly be. And it's really just like, I was going to say it's like San Diego, but it's not. Melbourne was like San Diego. Perth is more like Detroit. It's like,
Oh shit!
or like Fresno. Fresno, Arizona moved to Australia, and it took Perth, and that's the only available land for it. So I flew 21 hours of flight time to go to Fresno, California. So
Great.
it's the best
Well,
analogy I can give.
yeah. I mean, I was texting you, and then you were like, "I still have 8 to 10 hours left on the plane," and I was like, "No way!" I went about my whole day, did everything, ran errands, trained, came back, and I was like, "Shit, he's still not there yet. Still hasn't landed."
Yeah, no, it was a long flight. And in the UFC, I mean, they pay for the best accommodations available. Coach, only economy. Uh,
I was
you
gonna
know,
say, "Oh, there was nothing available."
worst flights possible. And then the worst part of it is Casey fights Sunday morning. All right, so she's gonna fight Sunday morning. That'll be Saturday night your time. The UFC has us flying out Monday at midnight. So we're here for almost 2 more days before we fly home. And then, of course, it's a day travel. So I don't even get home. So the fight is Sunday morning. I don't get home until Tuesday at like 1 or 2 p.m.
So will you be for training on Tuesday? Will you be there for training?
No, absolutely not. I don't know if I'm going to be there for training until Tuesday of next week. This is taking it out of me.
So we're doing a little bit of a shorter podcast today. Just time restrictions, and I'm sorry this was a late podcast, guys. Trying to coordinate with a guy who is flying. I keep saying halfway across the world because that's the common phrase, but you're flying all the way across the world, like literally,
To
like you
the
said,
other side of the world.
yeah, as far as possible. So it's been hard to kind of link up, and then just the timing of everything. And you had issues with tape study because it's hard in other countries. People don't realize. When I went to Austria, I couldn't access ESPN
Yeah.
or Fight Pass or anything. So you found a loophole. You got it done. It just took a
Well,
little longer.
yeah, I'm
Um,
sorry for the audio qualities. I mean, I'm having to use my AirPods and my phone. Yeah, and you said with the tape study, so I was trying to access ESPN Plus, couldn't. Trying to access UFC Fight Pass, couldn't. And then what I did actually was, so I was trying. Even MMA Core was being really weird. It wasn't allowing me to do it. So what I actually did was I went to Fight Chalk because I was just looking up stuff. And I kept going to Fight Chalk, and then I would open the link in a new tab, and it wouldn't go through. And I'm using VPNs. I'm using every different VPN, every different place in the VPN. Couldn't get through anything. And then what I ended up doing is, so I was on Fight Chalk, and I ended up opening the tabs in the same browser, and that would actually work. If I open it up in a new tab, it wouldn't work. And so what I think is happening is I'm able to access Fight Chalk, which is on an American server, and then I'm clicking the link through them, which is an American server. I don't know, but when I would open it in a new tab, I'm assuming that would show up my Australian server. I don't know. I could be 100% wrong. You tech people could be like, yeah, you're an idiot. And I know I'm an
but
idiot.
it works
But that's
somehow.
it's the only way that it's working is if I open it in that browser. And I finally figured that out. So anyway, now here we are. Here we are. Let me
So
try and fix my
we're
light a little bit.
that's okay. So we're gonna do the main card today, guys. I did write ups day ago, 2 days ago on the full card. Santino's gonna put out breakdowns for the full thing on the Patreon as well. Go sign up so you can check out everything. So today is just gonna be a really short podcast, just the main card. But I don't think a lot of people know this. Who are you cornering? Why are you out there? People don't really know. I've been getting texts all week like, hey, this person seems like a really good underdog. What do you think? And I'm like, well, I can't really comment about it. And then I would get a text back like 20 minutes later, like, oh shit, didn't know it was that fight ready. So who are you cornering? Why are you out there? Let us know.
Before we get to all of that, turn your mic down a little bit. It's still a little loud. I don't know. It seems a little weird. So when they hear it, I think I'm going to be really quiet and you're going to like be blaring the speakers out right there. So I'm actually here cornering Casey O'Neill. So Eddie Cha and I are down here cornering Casey O'Neill. She has been with us 12 weeks, 15 weeks, 38 weeks. I don't know, a lot of weeks. So she came out way before camp started just to train and get going. So we've been doing that. She's been, honestly, she's too much of a workhorse. We have to pull her back. So it's one of the few people who I've met that is just like go, 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 go nonstop. I mean, she would train 40 hours a day if you let her. We got to limit that. But yep, here she's fighting Casey O'Neill. Fighting Casey O'Neill. I'm here with Casey O'Neill. She's fighting Luana Santos. She was supposed to be fighting Teresa Bleda, but then, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Bleda pulled out, and then Luana stepped in. So, new fight, new country, new me.
Completely different fight. So very interesting. I liked that last fight much better for Casey and her style. This one, I think, is a more competitive fight, but very good. And I'm excited to see how she looks with real coaching for the first time, real attention, individual attention.
Yeah, I mean, she's been fun. She's, we put a lot into it. So hopefully everything goes well and we get the fuck out of Perth.
Yeah, I don't know if fun's the right adjective, but nonetheless. Anyways, let's get started with the card. So the very first fight on the main card that we are going to talk about is, let's see, we have Jingliang Li versus Carlos Prates. What do you got on this one?
Man, so watching this, so first of all, the first thing to talk about Jingliang Li and Prates is strength of schedule. Jingliang Li is fighting the top of the best for a long time. He fought Chimaev, fought D-Rod, fought Neil Magny, fought Elizas Zaleski. He has fought Santiago Ponzinibbio. He's fought all the top 10, top 15, top 20 guys in the division. But I was actually looking at it earlier, and these guys are all old. I mean, these are a bunch of dinosaurs, except for Chimaev, of course. And then you look at Prates, who has not fought the top of the division, but he's starching people. And so it's one of those, like, how do these two people match up? I mean, the short answer is I kind of like Prates here. Jingliang Li, watching him in that D-Rod fight. First of all, D-Rod's southpaw, and Prates is southpaw. And Jingliang Li didn't really know how to fight a southpaw. And he kept moving away, and even he would press D-Rod up against the fence a couple times, and then he was backing right back up in the center. If you do that against Prates, that's exactly what he wants. You're going to give him the space. And Prates has that traditional Muay Thai stance, but he actually we're really critical of traditional Muay Thai and MMA. But I actually really like the way that Prates does it, because he's not marching people, marching people down and trying to go forward and then countering. He actually sits back and lets them come to him, which is great for that Muay Thai style. And then he uses that rear teep, that rear knee, and then of course his left hand as well. I like Prates here because I could see Jingliang Li, try saying that 5 times fast. I could see him standing on the outside just like he did with D-Rod, and then trying to play a point game and trying to find his way in and just getting teeped and teeped and teeped. And then at some point he tries to pressure himself in, and then Prates can land however he wants, or Prates actually exits really well. It looks bad. Like, people will blitz him and he just covers, Muay Thai covers, frames out, runs away. But he does it well and he creates a space. We saw Trevin Giles trying to take him down, and he was super calm, just relaxing, taking his time. I don't know that cardio is going to get to him. We haven't really seen him in the later rounds anytime recently. But the way he fights, he's so relaxed. I can't imagine him getting tired. And Jingliang Li is he's tough, but he's a little wild. He's not overly dynamic in terms of like mixing his kicks with his knees and a whole array of things. He's going to box. He's going to throw that right middle kick. And then he's going to start trying to brawl a little bit. I mean, his face is the size of like the Grand Canyon, so I think it's going to be hard to put him away. But I think you beat up his body a little bit, and I think he's going to really start to open up and get sniped.
So, yeah, I mean, you're not making a bold statement saying, I lean Carlos Prates here. He's minus 350, something like that.
Is he that big of a favorite?
Yeah, he's huge favorite.
I haven't checked the odds lately.
You know what? Well, producer Kamuela's not here, so let me pull up the odds. But yeah, I think he wins. I mean, it's no secret the UFC is trying to fast track him. I thought Radke was going to be a much tougher test than Jingliang is. Radke is solid, man. Radke can wrestle. He's a good black belt, and then he just melted Radke. It wasn't even a competitive fight. Trevin Giles, weirdly, was a way more competitive fight than that one was. So it's no secret the UFC is trying to fast track him, see how good he is. I mean, I really think he is good. Even on the ground, right? His takedown defense, at least in the past, hasn't been the greatest of all time, but he's crafty on the ground. He's like constantly throwing submissions, and he does all kinds of weird stuff to try to attack or try to get up. I think him being associated with the Fighting Nerds now, they're a really good team. They're really smart. He's going to have the fight IQ, I believe. But man, he's a clean, vicious striker. He uses all the limbs, all the things at his disposal here. So I think this is like a boxing fight. It's not so much if he wins, it's how he wins, and that's where people might get burned. And so we have to consider Lee's durability. Is Lee durable enough to take all the shots versus like is Prates going to get the KO? I think a lot of people are thinking KO. He hasn't really fought somebody like Prates before. That's just this like clean, sharp striker, just comfortable on the feet. Going to take his time. I don't know. I don't really have a lean one way or the other towards that one. I guess I would do like something like that over underline is set at a round and a half. With the durability of Lee, I would say probably an over. And maybe if you have access to DraftKings, you could do like the single game parlays with Prates and over 3 minutes, or Prates and over 4 minutes. Something like that might be really nice.
I like that a lot. I think it's going to go over a round and a half. I mean, if you look at Giles, just because Prates didn't really do a lot in that first round and Giles did, I mean, Prates takes his time. Like, he's not, honestly, I think even the Radke fight, I think that could have gone longer if Radke didn't start pressing and swinging and going.
It almost ended the first round. Yeah, he almost got out. It was like 10 seconds.
Yeah, he's not a guy who's just going to go swinging at you and go guns blazing. He takes his time and relaxes. And if Jingliang Lee sits back as well, I mean, you could definitely get an over 1.5 on this. With a really durable guy, too.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Mr. Ty Tuivasa and Biggie Boy Jair Rozenstruik. What do you got on this one? I need you to go first on this fight.
These guys are, Ty especially, is the most unpredictable guy. Like, I feel like lately, I'm pulling up his Tapology right now. His last couple fights, right? So you got Sirogan, Pavlovich, Volkov, Tybura. 4 losses in a row. His last win was Derek Lewis. And the thing with Derek Lewis, and I remember thinking that Lewis was going to win that fight, and you're like, no, he's not going to win it. Tai Tuivasa's winning. And Derek just didn't look like he wanted to be in there and wanted to fight. He was just collecting a paycheck. And that's what I look at with Tuivasa these days, is I don't know that he is really he's got a lot of things going on in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, wherever he's at right now. Is he really in there to win fights, or is he just in there to collect a paycheck at this point? And you have Rozenstruik, who's not overly, a volume guy. He'll stand there and stare at you for 5 rounds if you let him, and then he'll swing on you. But he does all of the right stuff. I mean, is Ty going to shoot in and take Rozenstruik down? Probably not. Even so, like, Rozenstruik's like takedown defense has gotten better. He's athletic. He does a lot of the right stuff. I think Rozenstruik is a better dynamic striker from the outside, and I think the leg kicks and the big overhands from outside are going to do a lot. Tuivasa, I think, is a better guy on the inside, clinch, the elbows, the knees, and stuff like that. And of course, he has the power, but I think Rozenstruik is still there to fight. Like, if this fight was offered for no money and they weren't collecting paychecks, I think Tuivasa is like, I'm out, I'll see you. And I think Rozenstruik's like, yeah, I'll fight. So I like Rozenstruik's fight, for lack of a better word, because he's actually there. He's actually still trying to win. I think they're both old. Like, Rozenstruik's 36. How old is Ty at this point? Shit, he's only 31. I thought he was like
That's
51.
crazy.
He's just like an old man. So I got Rozenstruik. I think the big power is going to come from him. A lot of times, like I said, he'll stare at you, but he looked good in that Gadzi fight. And I think Tai is going to bring the fight, I think, a little bit more, and so I think Rozenstruik's volume is going to be a little bit higher just due to that. So I like Rozenstruik here.
I think I'm with you, and it's honestly along the same lines. And I know I haven't watched any prediction videos. I never watch prediction videos, but I'm sure everybody said the same thing. Like, Ty's just here, Ty's washed. Ty absolutely has a chance, right? He bum rushes and he causes that firefight. You got two heavyweights that hit hard as shit, both swinging at each other in close proximity. He for sure has a chance, right? I think I like to look at things over, if the fight played out over the course of 15 minutes, who's going to win? And for me, that would be Rozenstruik. I think he's just so much faster than Ty, so much sharper, more dynamic than Ty is. I like Ty. I've always given Ty benefit of the doubt, even when you haven't. Am I still super loud?
You're a little loud, but it's not bad. You're good. You're good.
Okay. I've always given Ty the benefit of the doubt, even when you didn't so much, right? You were like, he's so, and I'm like, no, he's better than people think that he is. He's not some insane brawler all the time like people think that he is. I think honestly you're right. Like Rozenstruik would fight this no matter what. It feels like, I know he's 36, I know he's older, but it still feels like he's on the come up, where it feels like Ty is almost on his way out. 4 losses in a row.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they didn't give him a complete layup in Australia. They didn't give him who was that that big strong black guy, Braxton, whatever. They didn't give him in Australia. They gave him Jair Rozenstruik. So I don't know. Maybe I don't have an interest in the number playing Rozenstruik as a decent sized favorite here, but I think he wins. I think he beats Ty.
Well, I'm looking at the odds right now. He's minus 218. It's not like he's minus 400. So I mean, that's not a crazy line.
Yeah, but for a straight play, it's just not my style.
Yeah.
All right, we're good on that one. We're both on Mr. Biggie Boy.
We're cruising. It's the fastest podcast we'll ever have.
I got some things to say at the end regarding Kamala. All right, next up we have Mateus Gamrot and Mr.
Wait. Did you say Kamala or Kamuela?
I said Kamala.
Oh, okay.
And Kamuela.
I thought so. Yeah, I didn't know which one. I was like, wait, are you trying to say Kamuela, but you're pronouncing it like
honestly,
Kamala?
they're 2 peas in a pod. They're basically the same.
They're 2 peas in a liberal pod.
All right, next up we have Mateus Gamrot and Mr. Dan Hooker. What's she twerking on?
Give me your thoughts on it. Or what do you want? You want me to go? You want to go on this?
Yeah, I want you to go. What's she twerking on?
Okay. First of all, Dan Hooker is so good and is the consummate comes up short when it matters fighter. He really is fucking good. He's huge. I think he's definitely a lot better at 155 than he is at 145. I mean, the dude can just fight. He's tough. He's been hurt a lot recently. Arnold Allen put him on death's door. And even Jalen Turner hurt him quite a bit. Of course, he came back. He won that fight, whatever. But, man, he's just taken a lot of beatings. I don't know if it's the age, the fights, the sparring, the what, but he is definitely not – he doesn't have the chin or the durability. We probably saw it with Chandler. After that Chandler knockout, I don't think his chin was ever really the same. But great Muay Thai, great knees. Him and Turner are very similar in style, and I say that because Gamrot fought Turner recently. The thing with Turner that's a little bit different is he's more boxing, so he's a little bit more narrow. Hooker has such a square, wide style. He's almost like his feet are almost like a little bit
both
more
facing
angled,
you.
but his shoulders are always just square to you. And he's looking for those big punches. And then, of course, we have Gamrot, who is a wrestler, who's a wrestler. And I was actually shocked at how well Fiziev defended his takedowns in the first round. I mean, there's some chaining. In the second round, though, he got Fiziev down. He started holding him.
And in the same fight, I was more amazed of Gamrot striking. Gamrot was actually beating him on the feet.
Yes. I was thinking about that, especially in that opposite stance. When they would go opposite stance, he would immediately fire. His straight right was really good, clean punches right down the middle. But Fiziev is like 5'8", 5'9", whereas Dan Hooker is 6'2", 6'3". So I was thinking about that, but I was like, man, I don't know how much. I do think it'll play a little bit because he does look cleaner. The thing with Gamrot, though, is he doesn't rush in on the takedown. Like, he knows. You saw with Turner, I was rewatching that fight, and I was like, why isn't he shooting? Why isn't he shooting? Why isn't he shooting? Shoot. And maybe that was a little bit of cardio gas tank regulation because he took the fight on 10 days notice or whatever it was. But he doesn't just go in there and rush and go guns blazing. He sets up his shot and he takes his time on it. When he shoots, it's a wrap. Like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I don't think he's going to gas out like he did in that Turner fight. And honestly, watching Jalen Turner take Dan Hooker down pretty easily out in the open, and that was well timed. Who thinks Turner's going to shoot? But I got Gamrot here. I think it probably goes the distance. I would like to see Gamrot, with all of his wrestling, control a little bit better. If you watch, I'm tired, you guys. I'm tired. I don't know what, I'm down under. I don't know what planet I'm on over here, but Makhachev, Islam. So if you watch Makhachev, he takes him down, he rides him, scoops the legs, finds his Kimura. Gamrot just isn't that guy. We always talk about these wrestlers who are taking people down but not controlling them. In jiu-jitsu, guys have such better control than wrestlers do on top, but they just can't get the fight to the ground. The Dags, especially like Makhachev and Khabib, they're getting the takedown and controlling people. And I'd like to see that with Gamrot a little bit more. Man, it just is like almost frustrating that Gamrot's not just slinging submissions like crazy. That said, I like Gamrot. I think it goes over. Gamrot decision.
He kind of gassed out a little bit in that RDA fight too. If you remember in that fight, it was supposed to be easy for him. He kept looking up at the clock. He was like huffing and puffing. It was kind of close. I remember live betting the shit out of RDA, thinking, man, he's gonna cook. Which gives me a lot of pause for Gamrot. What, at minus 300 here? What is he? Let me take a look. Oh my God, Gamrot's minus 360. I think that's a lot. I think it's a lot.
That's scary to play against a Dan Hooker. But, I mean, Gamrot's not getting finished by Turner hitting knees. Like, I don't know. I think it's a ridiculous line.
But not Hooker beat the piss out of Jalen Turner, too.
Yeah, but those are different styles. Like, I don't know that. Look, I think the line is wide. But I think we always talk about it. I think Hooker's going to look like a really good value loser after 3 rounds.
It's possible. I think at plus 295, I think you have to play it. And here's why. It's just Gamrot's style is it's not good for judges. It's just never been good for judges. You're going to take somebody down over and over and over and over again and not really cause or inflict any damage. I get how good he is. I get he's so talented. I get he's one of the top guys in the division. This just feels like a spot that everyone's going to think is so clear and easy and obvious. And it probably, in hindsight, maybe it will be. Like, he's going to 30-27 him. But Hooker's a smart guy. Hooker's an ultra veteran. He's a smart guy. He's not dumb. I would assume he's been training wrestling stops for the last 8 weeks, 9 weeks, countering what Gamrot's going to be doing. And then on the feet, I mean, I give Dan Hooker a huge edge. That dude is like game. He's ready to stand in the pocket. He's really, really effective. He keeps composure better than anyone, and he never runs out of cardio. Plus 295 in Australia. I mean, I think that's the line just moved as we're speaking right now. It's plus 285 now. Moved 10 cents. I think I like Dan Hooker. I'm gonna go with Dan Hooker. Not like I'll fucking burn the votes. It's Dan Hooker, but I think that price, like, I don't know. I think I think you got to play Dan in this spot.
So we're not done here. We're not done. I'm looking at Gamrot. He lost a split decision to Guram Kutateladze, who has some of the best wrestling defense, like just a great striker, good wrestling defense. Beat Holtzman, beat Jeremy Stevens, Diego Ferreira. Old. Arman Sarukian in a 5-round fight. I mean, he lost a decision to Benny Dariush, who was the only person we've ever seen really negate the wrestling the way that he has. Then he beat Jalen Turner, Fiziev, and Dos Anjos. Man, I think the dude does know how to win decisions. It's a very weak schedule. These guys all suck. And if you look at Dan Hooker, he can't come. I mean, his strength of schedule is significantly better. He beat the Claudio Puelles.
That's good. Embarrassed him. Wasn't even a close fight.
And he has fought a lot of good guys, too. He lost to Arnold Allen. He lost to Islam Makhachev. He beat Nasrat. He lost to Michael Chandler. He lost to Dustin Poirier. So his strength of schedule is equal, but he is losing to the top guys in the division, whereas Gamrot is finding a way to beat the top guys in the division. So give me some Gamrot. Give me some Gamrot.
All right, all right. I get it. I mean, he's probably going to win easy, but I don't know. The number just seems excessive. All right, I got 15 minutes for you. Next up, we have Kai Kara France and Steve Erceg. And I think I already know where you're going to go with this because you're very steadfast on this. Once you lose the title shot, you're going to come back and lose your next fight. We have Steve Erceg as a favorite in this spot. However, Steve Erceg is really good, and he got a title shot really, really quickly. He didn't have to work and battle and have 10 wins in the UFC to get his title shot. He won, 2 fights, 3 fights, and they're like, all right, you're up. So to me, in this spot, it still feels like he's a young, like a younger challenger. It still feels like he was like, man, I was so close. I was almost there. 1 win gets me right back in the picture. 2 wins gets me back in the picture. I'm still hungry. I'm still motivated. Whereas it felt like the opposite maybe with Chito Vera a couple weeks ago. Like you said, he just fought for the title, got his ass beat. He knows it's going to be a long road back. He knows there's already other plans for the division, and then he loses to Figueiredo. So just teeing that up, what say you on this fight?
No, I want to hear your thoughts first. I want to hear your thoughts first because it's a good intro. Let's see where we go with that.
Well, I think here's the thing. Erceg is really, really good. Erceg is really good. His striking is clean as shit. And I think where Kai Kara France shines the best is to defend wrestling nonstop, wear guys down, and then he comes on late. And I think in a 3-round fight, it's going to favor Erceg a lot more than a 5-round fight was. Right? We saw Kai Kara we saw him with Askarov, right? And Askarov is just a crazy wrestler, and he just defends and pushes forward. We saw it with Albazi, right? And we know Amir trains with us. Wore him down in the fight, started pressing forward, kind of changed the momentum. But I think Erceg's a much different wrestler than all of them. I think Erceg is like a jiu-jitsu style wrestler where he kind of swings to the outside. He goes for back takes. He does things that aren't like wrestling dependent, that are so easy to defend. That plus the danger of his hands. I don't think he's some like vicious power puncher, but I think he's definitely well educated. He's got a clean jab. He's got a nice little check left hook. He's very tall for the division. What's the number getting down to? He's minus 170 now. Kai Kara's plus 145. I mean, I don't see either one of these guys finishing each other. I think they're both super, super durable. Kai just kind of has the same things with his striking. It's kind of like press forward, overhand, press forward, overhand. You got to think that Erceg's been preparing for that. I think he's close enough. I think I like Erceg in the spot.
You're wrong.
Because I know you want to play Erceg, but you're sticking to your thing.
No, I think it is weird though. If you look at people when they fight title shots and then their next fight, like they always, not always, but I'd say like, I don't know the line on this, but it's probably like 80% losses afterwards. I could see this as being one of those rare occurrences where it doesn't happen. The thing with Kai Kara is his movement, and I'm curious to see how Erceg handles that because all the city kickboxing guys are just lateral movement, in, out, lateral movement. But I actually think the Erceg not like rushing. I don't see Erceg trying to get his hands on Kai. I don't see him trying to like grab him and rush in and go. And then I think that kind of stops a little bit of the lateral movement because it's almost like we talked about Prates, or however the hell you say his name. Get these Muay Thai guys marching forward in their Muay Thai stance and an MMA style striker running around and moving laterally. It doesn't work out well for them. But Prates doesn't move forward always. He sits there and he lets you come to him. And then now all of a sudden you're not being matadored out of the way. I think Erceg will get in his face and he will throw, but he intelligently uses his jab going forward. He actually throws going forward, and he's not going to be rushing in, panic, trying to get a hold of Kai. And he's also a lot taller than Kai. I think that range is going to be really big. We saw with Brandon Moreno landing some kicks. That's what led to the demise of him there. And I think Erceg's wrestling is better than most of the guys Kai has fought. So I think he'll be able to grab him if he wants and kind of do some stuff there. But no, I like Erceg.
Kai's really tiny.
What's that? He is tiny.
He's tiny.
This sounds kind of nuts, but I kind of like Erceg to win a grappling match against Kai. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up shooting in, taking his back, kind of grinding him out that way. And I think he can beat him up standing, but it definitely wouldn't surprise me to see either him win because of grappling or he hurts him and then jumps on him, really uses grappling to win.
I've thought that about Kai this whole time. Is everyone's like so crazy about his takedown defense, takedown defense. I think it's really good. It is really good. It's really good about against basic things. That's what I've always felt. I'm like, man, if Kai came to the gym, I could take down Kai. I know I could take down Kai, and then I know I could have success on top. Just because it's different than just shooting like a dag, double leg, and then come up to whatever and press you on the fence. Like, I think Erceg is real crafty. I think he's going to find the back, get him down somehow, trips, sweeps, whatever. I think you're right. I think he can win a grappling match pretty easily.
So I'm going Erceg against everything I believe as a human with my title fight loss, bounce back, superstition.
All right, so then that takes us to the main event, Battle of the Dicks. Did you see the dick flicks?
No.
Izzy posts on Twitter. He said, "Who's the real champion of Africa?" And he posted a picture of his dick print, and it was huge, right? It's significant. And then he posted Dricus, and it was not as big. And he said, "Who's the real king of Africa?"
Huh. Well, if that's anything, you got to go with Dricus.
The smaller one?
He's got something to prove.
Oh, I guess that's a good point. Yeah, Izzy backfired on himself. He didn't even understand.
Man, I want to break this down. I am 0 for 17 on Dricus now. I think I've gone against him every fight.
Great. So you're gonna go with him here, and then it's gonna look like the worst bet ever.
Oh man, it's insane because none of it makes sense. Everything in my head tells me that he's gonna rush in and get clipped by Izzy on the way in. Izzy's lateral movement, his calf kicks. And he's really precise, especially as people blitz him. He wins. That's exactly how you lose to Izzy, is by being Dricus du Plessis. You blitz in, you get hit, especially with that check hook on the way in. The good thing about Izzy's check hook is it's not traditional over the top that forces you to time it or place it perfectly in an area. He will adjust as he's thrown it. And sometimes it's almost like an uppercut check hook. Sometimes it's a clean check hook. Sometimes it's almost over the top check hook. And he hits people as he's moving, which traditionally is bad. You don't want to punch people off balance. He matrixes it, and it somehow works for him. It's not something I would ever suggest for anybody to try to emulate Izzy. That is just, you're not going to do it. You're going to die. You're going to, hey, look at this. The Make-A-Wish version of Izzy is what's going to happen. Everything standing points to Izzy. What I actually think is a big deal here is the wrestling. Du Plessis is taking down Sean Strickland. Dude, nobody's taking Sean Strickland down. I mean, it's just wild to see people easily take Sean down and get him down and drag him out. I thought Sean won that fight, but I don't know that Izzy is as hard to take down as Strickland, and I don't know that he can get up as well as Strickland. So I think that's a big thing, and Du Plessis loves the chaos of everything. And he finds these. Look at Robert Whittaker. If you told me, like today, if you told me that Dricus du Plessis beat Robert Whittaker, I'm telling you it's fake news. Like, I don't buy it. No, there's video. I don't buy it. It was fake. I was there. I was there live. I'm like, it's fake. It doesn't. Like, I don't buy it. If you told me that those guys are going to fight 100 more times, I'm telling you there's zero chance Dricus du Plessis wins, and it's 100-0 Bobby Whittaker. And then du Plessis is going to win however many he wins. It doesn't make sense. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I think Izzy wins. I think Izzy catches du Plessis somewhere in the way in, especially in Australia. Everything says Izzy, and Dricus is going to go out there and fucking prove me wrong, and I'll be 0-7 on Dricus over here.
Nah, this is the time. No, this is the time. This is the time Izzy wins. Izzy's been shit for a while, and I don't mean shit. I mean, he's obviously extremely talented. He's an incredible fighter. But having all the talent and then refusing to throw a punch, refusing to do things that are going to help you win the fight, even against like Cannonier, like he didn't do anything. And there was arguments to be made for Vettori. There was arguments to be made for Cannonier. I'm really hoping what we see here is a return to honestly, just I hope he lets his ego fly. Like I hope Izzy fights mad. I hope Izzy fights like he's got something to prove. Because I think when he was champion for so long, he's protecting his champion status and just so highbrow, so much better than these guys. Look how easily I can just point them to a decision. I think he has something to prove in this one. We've never seen cardio issues from Izzy. We have seen cardio problems from Drakus a few times.
Have
And
we though?
yeah,
Like,
we have. We
I
have.
mean, he does, but he EPOs it right back into a resurrection mode, and then he carries
yeah,
on,
he does.
soldiers through.
He does. But he also does when people are not putting other shit in their face and they're wearing down too and stuff like that, right? He just breathing a little bit heavier. But like, is he going to put together a 15-minute wrestling? I'm sorry, a 25-minute wrestling game plan? I don't know. I think his leg's going to get chewed apart. I think we're going to see a massive levels fight. It just can't keep happening to me where you have a guy like even Kombola said when he was in the back with Drakus and he's watching him hit mitts and do stuff like that. And he's like, this guy's in the UFC? This is crazy. And now he's going to go up against one of the best kickboxers in the UFC, period. One of the best MMA strikers we've ever seen. And we're going to expect him to go win this fight. Even Sean let him into the fight.
Rogan always talks about all of the kickboxing experience that Drakus has. So you're wrong. I mean, Joe Rogan gets it.
He's a 14-0 K1 kickboxer. I remember the first time he ever fought. I told you about him. I was like, yeah, I bet him against Trevin Giles. And you're like, this dude's awful. That's what you said to me. You were like, this dude's awful. I think he's losing this fight. And then he deaded Trevin right then and there.
But he was losing every moment of that fight until he deadened Trevin. Like, he's always losing, and then he wins. You're like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, I don't see it here. Like, I get it. Honestly, the only part that worries me is if the grappling steals him a round or steals him 2 rounds. Like, they're going to be really competitive striking, and it's Drakus volume versus Izzy precision, and then he secures the round with a takedown or climbs on his back.
I'm not worried about that. You want to know what I'm worried about with him is cage pushing. Like, him grabbing him, pressing his way in, forcing his way on the cage, stealing clock. In Australia, it's not going to do him the most favors, but I'm looking at Izzy's record right now, okay? And so, of course, you know, we think of Izzy as this amazing striker, which he is. We think of the most amazing knockouts, all right, which he has. You know, I mean, that counter left hook to Whitaker was amazing. Let's go back to 2018. Split decision over Vettori, decision over Brad Tavares, decision over Anderson Silva, decision over Kelvin Gastelum, decision over Yoel, where they just stood there for 400 minutes. Decision lost to Blachowicz, decision over Vettori, decision over Whitaker, decision over Cannonier. And then, of course, he lost to Sean by decision. So, I mean, it's like, look, Izzy is great, but he is not starching everybody. And so now I think it comes down to volume and cage pushing and grappling versus damage and crowd cheering here in Australia. So
crowd cheering and damage.
Crowd cheering and damage.
I see everybody go. See, sorry, really quick. I have like 2 minutes and then I got to go. But I see everybody going out and making their biggest bets of their lives. I've seen several accounts and several things put that on Drakus. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, there are so many better spots, even on regional promotions this week, to put your biggest bet of your life on, where it's such more obvious matchmaking than this one. This one is such a coin flip fight, and you're going to put the biggest bet of your life on a coin flip fight in the other guy's like home territory, and he's so much better in areas. Like, it's hard for me, even if you think Drakus wins, and it's very possible he does, but like your biggest bet you've ever put, that's a total coin flip. You're just guessing.
Yeah, no, I like Izzy here. I think Izzy wins. I think Izzy wins. I think Izzy should win based on logic and reasoning. But somehow Drakus defies logic, reasoning, time, physics, and everything else. So, yeah, I think I like Izzy. You guys jump on the Patreon. It's $25 a month. That's $6 a week. That's like, I mean, you spend more money on coffee than you do on this Patreon. We'll have all the write-ups. You already put all of your write-ups on the undercard and everything up. I'm going to put mine up here shortly. So we'll see you guys on there. We'll see you on the Discord. Come jump on, and good luck betting this week.
All right, guys. Love you. Chat soon. XOXO. Moi.